with a heavier red splash. Shawn on your left, Harry on your right. It looks like we are in game number 2 here. Harry with the Deathrite Shaman, a swamp, and another land about to be in play in just a moment. He'll get a tropical island. We'll see what he's up to. While French, just a Sensei's Divine Top and a beautiful island.
But against Charlotte Sultai, that's the best card in the match. I think it's Miracle's best card in basically every matchup.
Me too.
But here, some attrition, removal-based, long game sort of matchup, this card is just awesome.
Charlotte's Agent's going to bring a Tarmogoyf along with it, or at least it's going to try. Not the biggest Tarmogoyf in the world. There's a 0-1 right now, but it doesn't take much.
Seems a little early to be fighting over things like 0-1 Tarmogoyfs. Just let the board develop. Get to your Terminus or Supreme Verdict. There's no rush.
French going to spin a top on his upkeep. He'll take a draw. Looking to smooth out his draw. There's a Plains, pass the turn back. Corvese will take a draw step. Pithing Needle is the draw. That'll be the play. French will spin the top.
This is a big card here for Harry because if he makes Shawn play straight up, it doesn't give him access to Divining Top. Well, suddenly Harry's discard spells and Planeswalkers, they can do what they are supposed to do. Attrition Shawn out of the game.
There's the attack for 3. French will draw top, of course. Play a Flooded Strand, simply pass the turn back. Corvese does have a Force of Will in hand. Looks like he might have a discard spell here. He does. It's a copy of Thoughtseize. Let's see if this Thoughtseize is going to resolve. Of course, Needle locking down the top. That's why French doesn't replay it there. Now French will show off the hand. Force of Will, Supreme Verdict. Looks like maybe 2 copies of Supreme Verdict. One is going to bite the dust. A couple of lands over there as well. Nothing too crazy going on.
But Supreme Verdict still excellent to have here.
Yep, it's going to bite the dust. And now Tarmogoyf gets to grow a little bit too. It'll grow a little bit more. We'll get our Tarmogoyf die out here for you. French, a player who does play at the Star City Game Center in Roanoke, so if you are from that area, might be a familiar face. Same place that Brad Nelson, Todd Anderson, Brian Braun-Duin, Chris Van Meter, all those friendly guys do play. Roanoke not too far from Richmond, so easy for some players to come out here.
I doubt any qualified player from Roanoke would not show up.
Yes.
Regardless.
2 tops here for French and just a passing of the turn. So only 1 Supreme Verdict in the deck, and it's currently in the graveyard. Corvese going to try to continue to push his advantage. Attack here for 4. Going to leave Deathrite Shaman back on defense. Get one of those sorceries out of the graveyard, do a little bit more damage that way. Harry will pass the turn back.
Yeah, just trying to finish this off with Deathrite Shaman activations. No real reason to add anything to the board.
He is down to 8. Let's make it 6. The Supreme Verdict will bite the dust. Corvese will take a draw. There's the attack. Source of Plowshares. Going to go after probably Tarmogoyf. All Corvese do and shrug his shoulders. He'll get a little bit of life here. Put French down to 4. Deathrite Shaman looking to be lethal.
Yeah, still no incentive for Harry to add really anything to his board. Can just pass it back.
French is the one that's got to answer it. And here's another Tarmogoyf. A little surprised to see that. Card Terminus is a real disaster now.
Yeah.
It's not there, though. Well, maybe not. Yeah, now he gets to hard cast it. If Corvese does have a card like a Daze or a Force of Will.
I would hope so, because hanging the go away from that spot there, if there was no big plan when you could have just activated Deathrite Shaman a couple times.
Looks like Corvese's just waiting for French to get a couple lands out of his deck, get some information. Now there is Force of Will and moving Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that's going to do it. So Harry Corvese is going to win game number 2 here against Shawn French. Charlotte Sultai ties it up against Miracles. We'll be heading to a third game here in just a moment, which means it's time to take a look at the sideboards. This player's about 25 minutes left to play. French going a little big here. He's got a Karn Liberated,
That is pretty big.
a Terminus, and Entreat the Angels, a Spell Pierce, 2 Vendilion Clicks, and is a Staticaster, a Red Elemental Blast, a Blue Elemental Blast, 1 Wear Tear, 1 Pyroclasm, a Baneslayer Angel, a Containment Priest, and 2 copies of Pithing Needle.
I'm not really a big fan of too much of what's going on here. You know, the creatures like Vendilion Click, I don't think are that well suited in the matchup, because Harry's going to have Abrupt Decays in his deck, and a lot of his creatures are just bigger or generate value on the way in. I think the Terminus is fine. The Entreat's good here. I think the Karn's all right. The Spell Pierce is all right. The Red Blasts are fine, but no real great options here for Shawn.
What do we see on Harry's side?
A Baleful Strix, a Vendilion Click, a Force of Will, a Seal Primordium, a Pithing Needle, a Toxic Deluge, a Hint of Torak, a Thoughtseize, a Knight of Souls Betrayal, a Golgari Charm, a Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Disfigures, 2 copies of Surgical Extraction. The Vendilion Click is very solid for this matchup. The Needle we already saw, the Hint of Torak, the Thoughtseize, just your anti-control cards, basically.
I think I like Harry in this matchup for game 3. I think
so too, though there's a lot leaning on the 1 Pithing Needle, because if Shawn is able to find his copy of Sensei's Divine Top, Harry doesn't have a lot of recourse, and if the game's going to go on for a long time, that gives Shawn a pretty big advantage. Harry did find his 1 Needle. That was great for him.
Yeah.
But I think if he doesn't have it and Shawn has Divine Top, Harry's in a pretty big hole.
Well, game number 3 going to be underway here in just a moment. So we will talk about SCG Game Night very quickly here. It is March. There's not a ton of it left, so you better get down to your local store. Get that rat token.
Yeah. You can run Game Night any day of the week, any format, sanctioned or unsanctioned. Just get players in your store for some fun and friendly magic. This is the March kit. We're very close to rolling out the April kit.
Do we have a name yet?
Not
Boots?
yet.
Boots? So, can we call this cat Sergeant Whiskers?
No,
or
that's already that's the name of a real cat that I already love.
I know, but it's a good name. All right, we can't.
I'm going to think about it. I don't want to just throw out a slapdash name here.
That's why I asked.
It's too late to get signed up for April, but if you're looking to get signed up for the May kit, you can head over to StarCityGames.com/game night. Get your store signed up today.
You love that little kitty cat.
I do.
Peebles?
Peebles?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a good name for a cat. No, not with it.
I had to think about it some. It just names for animals, your pets, they just come to you one day. You can't force it. I don't have a good one just yet.
Balrog?
Balrog?
Yeah. That just came to me. Just right now.
Yeah, you can. I guess you can name your kitten Balrog.
I was just thinking about Street Fighter. Boom. It's not great, I know.
I mean, it's your cat.
I can do whatever I want.
Right.
But that's not our cat. That's the SCG Live cat.
Right.
So we have to have a name that we agree with. See, the wolf, we agreed. Boots and Mittens.
Yeah.
We agreed on that.
If I knew about the kitten, maybe I would have held Boots and Mittens in the chamber.
That's the best part, not knowing. Here's Sensei's Divine Top off of Floodstrand. We're taking requests, by the way. Cat name at SCG Live, #SCGINVI. We will probably shoot down whatever you send, but we'll take requests.
We will make fun of your bad suggestions over the air, but...
Probably use your Twitter handle, too.
Yeah.
Pithing Needle on the stack. That's going to resolve. Sensei's Divine Top has been shut down.
Oh, Harry, you miser.
Yeah. Shawn going to draw a card here.
1 Needle showing up again.
The draw now is the top. There's a Flooded Strand. When this deck has top versus when it doesn't, it's a world of difference.
Especially in matchups like this, where
Yeah.
Harry has Thoughtseize, he has Ancestral Visions, he has a lot of powerful anti-control cards in his deck, but Divine Top can still overpower that because the draw quality and the play with the miracles can still overwhelm even that amount of card advantage. When Shawn has to play without Divine Top, Harry, I think, has a pretty substantial edge because his tools are just so powerful.
It's time for a brainstorm. Two cards going back. Brainstorm done resolving. There's a fetch land. Sacrifice that as well. Harry will put the Bayou right into play off the top of his deck since he knew it was there. Shuffle up, and we'll see what the follow-up will be. It's a Deathrite Shaman. French gonna play a Brainstorm. He can already put that top back.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Because this game is going to come down now to sort of raw card count, classic control game, and being able to shuffle away a dead card. Now your opponent has a Pithy Needle in play that I wouldn't call it a mulligan, but it's at least, you know, you're able to cash in your top for a new card. Shawn can still win the game with things like Supreme Verdict and Chase the Mind Sculptor.
For sure. Basic planes there for Shawn. French will draw. See Preordain in hand at this point. Top two. Looks like they're both going to the bottom. Take a mystery card. Preordain's done resolving. Third land he does have. Looks to be an Arid Mesa. A Scalding Tarn instead. Pass the turn back. Corvese will untap 2 lands, a Needle on top, and Deathrite Shaman. Looks like it might be time for a Thought Season. It is. Harry wants to see Shawn's hand. You'll see a Council's Judgment, a Supreme Verdict, just a couple of lands. Nothing too crazy going on here. Arid Mesa, a Volcanic Island, and a Plains.
Now, Shawn's deck does have some pretty big draws from here. And it's going to be hard for Harry to apply that much pressure. Because if he takes the Supreme Verdict, then Council's Judgment answers whatever Harry's big play is. And if Harry leaves Shawn with Supreme Verdict, well, then Harry can only develop his board so much.
Yeah. There goes the verdict. Tarmogoyf. Deathrite Shaman, of course, exiling the Flooded Strand on French's side. French will sacrifice the Scalding Tarn. Get a little bit lower here. See what land he wants to search up. Likely a basic, and he will go with an island. And now we head back French's way. Maybe just a Council's Judgment here? Kind of a boring play.
Well, I just don't think you want to be leaving spells in your hand against a deck that's packing Thought Seizes. I think you can probably just take care of the Tarmogoyf, and then Harry doesn't have a lot going on. And yes, you have nothing going on as well, but you've got some big draws at least. If Shawn drew action this turn, it would be different. But I think he just has to cast Council's Judgment here.
He's going to go after the top. Excuse me, he's going to go after the Needle that's naming top.
Okay. Hoping to turn Divining Top back on as a draw.
Attacks. 4 damage dealt. Another Tarmogoyf here for Corvese. Looking to get this game over with. All it takes is one big draw. There's the top. Well, okay then. There's a land. Pass the turn back. Now it's the hunt for Terminus. Here's a hymn. Shawn, I don't care. Those are lands. Hiya. Let's spin this top. Is there a Terminus hiding out here? Well, we are doing pretty good.
It's like Red Elemental Blast. If Shawn's pausing here, I can't imagine it's Terminus.
Thought I saw one. I guess maybe I misread it. Maybe he's willing to just take this damage. Terminus is amongst those cards, and he just wants to draw Red Elemental Blast to protect around a counterspell because he's not playing against a deck that has any lightning bolts.
That I buy.
Yeah.
That story makes sense.
Ooh, don't want to do that now.
No. You've
Easy.
already drawn a card this turn.
Easy. This could get bad. Oh, boy. I guess he said he was going to draw a card off the top.
Yep.
Yeah, now he's going to see the game. Moved a little too hasty there, unfortunately for him. And it looks like he did have a Terminus on top of the deck. So a bit of a misstep there. Judge held him to the play since he did announce it. That's a frustrating way to lose a game that he was going to maybe come back to win.
Yeah, with Red Blast left over too, Harry had Force of Will Brainstorm and then discard spells. Looked like Hidden Torak left in his hand.
Yeah.
So that's a really powerful sequence there. Harry showing the top couple cards of his deck saying I would have drawn this. He had a Tasker coming. Maybe that's good enough. But as it stands, Harry able to take the match on the back of that little misstep there from Shawn.
Yeah, and you can even see Shawn realize when he did it too. He's like, crap.
Yep.
Made a mistake a little too early there. No dispute between the players. I think he knew he made a mistake, hoping he could go back. But a tournament of this level for what's on the line, not going to have that happen. So Harry Corvese is going to win the match, move on to 5-1.
It's Shawn knows it's his bad.
Yeah.
Game was winnable. He had all set up, but you actually had to follow through, and Shawn wasn't able to do so.
Well, Harry